When choosing our film idents, we had to consider what production and distribution companies would both suit and be able to represent our film to a mass audience. We started by researching a few of the top 6 Hollywood film studios, such as Paramount and Warner Brothers, as well as some British independent companies such as Working Title. We then narrowed our search down by finding commonly occurring production or distribution companies of films with similar storylines and ideas to our own film. For example, Summit Entertainment have co-produced films such as Gone and Taken. Both films have similar aspects to our film, such as the idea of family who are missing and the unexpected hero having to take matters into their own hands. They have also worked on films with unusual and more challenging storylines, such as Source Code, where a memory just keeps on reoccurring and the audience work everything out along with the protagonist. This is similar to how our film revolves around a dream, and nothing will quite piece perfectly together until further on. So, Summit Entertainment would have previous experience with producing similar products that have done very well, so should be able to guide and promote our film. As Summit Entertainment frequently co-produce films, and we have learnt from our research that synergy of film companies usually leads to more successful films, we decided to use Bad Robot as our second production company. Bad Robot have produced action films, but also films with a bit of a darker side, such as Super 8, which gives films a thriller aspect, which is exactly what we were looking for. We then also had to consider the production value and the fact that we would want our film to be easily distributional and financially successful, so we would need to include a major Hollywood company as our distributor. We chose to use 20th Century Fox, a major production and distribution company that would allow our film to be widely advertised, which should lead to a successful cinema release. They have worked with a variety of successful films of different genres over many years, such as the X-Men franchise, Jumper, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which followed similar ideas to our own film. This should mean that our film could be just as easily distributed and just as successful with this supportive backing. The reason why we chose major American film studios instead of small independent studios is because although our storyline may be challenging in some respects, it is only like this because we want to create suspense for our audience and not reveal everything to them in the opening scene. Smaller companies such as BBC Film Studio and Film 4 tend to create meaning behind their ideas in order to teach or question their audience. Our film is simply a chance of escapism for our audience, like most action thrillers, which is why using major film studios could target our mass demographic. Our film fits into the hybrid genre of an action thriller. Action and thrillers are such broad genres individually with many subgenres that we decided to bring together the psychological aspect from thrillers and the excitement from action. Our film also brings in other elements of romance and mystery to add interest and make our storyline more unique compared to other typical action thrillers. Films such as Mr. and Mrs. Smith are previous examples of building the action genre into a wider variety hybrid. Mr. and Mrs. Smith are both assassins on the same job role, but against each other. The romance element is there, but there is mysteries and lies in the relationship. The only aspect that we didn't bring in from this film was comedy, because we wanted to create a serious, darker tone to our storyline. You can hear this serious tone in Annabelle's voice in the voiceover during the bedroom scene. Like with Angelina Jolie in Mr. and Mrs. Smith and Amanda Seyfried in Gone, we challenged the stereotypical action convention of male lead heroes by casting an attractive but strong Oriental female as our main protagonist, and created the perception of white male lead being a more vulnerable character. In order to make our action thriller genre clear and specifically targeted to our audience, we followed some stereotypical conventions which met this genre. For example, our main prop was a gun. It connoted the power that our main protagonist held, but then also implied danger and warning. Action thrillers usually feature some sort of crime, such as a murder taking place, which is a main concept within our film shown in the dream sequence. The gun being used both actively and passively helped to build the mystery and suspense that we wanted to create for the audience right from the start, as they would begin questioning the links between the dream and reality. Other props that became part of our mise-en-scène included the CCTV images, missing persons documents, and maps. These all help to add to the clarity of our hybrid genre. For example, the photo frame and alarm clock represented a sense of normality within Annabelle's life and helped to build up the background of our storyline, whereas the maps and images that were influenced by this shot in Gone and the clip from Taken 2 became a part of our set design and helped to create a sense of mystery and suspense, because everything here, including the voiceover, contrasts the dream sequence that the audience was shown initially. In regards to our location choices, we understood that action films are typically set in large iconic locations, such as Skyfall being set in London as well as Japan and China, but we needed to also keep in mind that a stereotypical thriller convention usually includes the film taking place in shadowy, abandoned locations. We decided that using this forest for the opening would perfectly bring together the eeriness we needed to create with the action that was going on. The fact that our protagonist is in this abandoned forest leaves questions for the audience and also creates confusion with what is going on, which we wanted as this is a dream. We decided that the film, if continued, would then build into the main iconic city of London, which would address the action genre conventions. When editing our film opening, we wanted to again think about the typical conventions of both actions and thrillers. For example, we had looked at the police car scene in Salt, where Evelyn escapes. It is immediately noticeable that the pace of editing speeds up to build the tension needed for the escape. We incorporated a similar technique by using fast-paced cuts during the forest scene to build tension and excitement as Annabelle is nearing towards her victim, and then used longer held steady shots in the bedroom scene. Our characters both support and challenge the typical stereotypes of particular social groups created by previous popular action thriller films. Even though more recently actresses and other ethnicities have taken lead roles in action movies, there is still a white male dominance in the view of heroic characters, and there is still a perception of women being damsels in distress or just the hero's love interest. We have challenged these stereotypes by using an Oriental female as our lead actress. From researching aspects of Hong Kong cinema, we were able to find more of a dominance in strong female lead or partnered lead roles than in British and Hollywood films. For example, one actress that inspired us was Lucy Liu. She has taken on the roles of Alex in Charlie's Angels, a film where women's sex appeal works as a strength, gaining them power and an upper hand against the male antagonists. She is showcased, like Angelina Jolie in Salt, Tomb Raider, and The Tourist, that women can have two sides, be attractive and vulnerable, or be attractive with enough power, strength, and skill to be part of the action, just like the men. Our character, Annabelle Carter, reflects this idea by us showing her feminine and vulnerable side at the start of the bedroom scene, and then a strong, ruthless view of her in the forest scene. The voiceover helps to bring these two sides together, as we can hear the vulnerability in Annabelle's voice when she talks about her husband being missing, but then the determination in her voice when explaining how she needs to find him. We didn't completely challenge the stereotype of women being weak, because there is still a sense of vulnerability to our protagonist, as shown in our opening due to her partner being missing. This is similar to Jill in Gone. She is haunted by a memory, but is determined to stop her brutal male abductor. In the same way, our main character is haunted by this dream, and her mission is to piece everything together to find and perhaps save her husband. We chose to still show this vulnerability to appeal to our audience because not everyone likes a cold or evil female protagonist. When planning our mise en scène, we thought carefully about Annabelle's costume. We were again inspired by both Evelyn in Salt and Alex in Charlie's Angels. The costumes that these women wear are black and made of lycra or are quite fitted to show off their figure. We took these ideas on board when creating Annabelle's forest costume and chose to dress Annabelle in a similar way. They also usually wear high heels, even though they have more physical roles in the action. This deceives their victims but also maintains a sense of femininity to their character, which is why we chose to make Annabelle wear heels, even when running through the forest. Annabelle's heels are also slightly muddy in the bedroom scene, which could hint how she actually has been out searching. Our makeup choices were also influenced by Angelina Jolie's makeup in Salt. We chose to use quite dark, smoky eye makeup, reflecting her shadowy character, and she is wearing red lipstick, connoting her dangerous nature. For the bedroom scene, Annabelle was dressed in a much more exposing costume, wearing shorts and a vest top. This implied her vulnerability and innocence, in a stereotypical way, contrasting from how we see her in the dream sequence. Her makeup was a lot more natural at the start of the scene, again showing her innocence. We then hinted a progression into this more ruthless character, which we see in the dream as Annabelle gets ready, such as putting on the costume and the red lipstick. Some of the camera shots that we used also connoted a reversal in stereotypical male and female roles. We were inspired by this shot in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, where the female dominates the shot in the foreground, making her seem stronger than the male who is in a smaller part of the shot. This represents how, in this moment, he is a backgrounded and weakened character. We used this similar idea of positioning in one of the shots in our dream sequence, but in a different way. In this over-the-shoulder two-shot, Jason dominates the shot, but our focus is still drawn to Annabelle due to her positioning at the central point of the trees and her gesture with the gun out. Her figure is not as clear, so the audience's focus goes towards working out what she is trying to do. When casting the role of Jason Carter, we kept with the action genre stereotypical look of a strong white athletic male, as we thought that the story behind this character created enough of a difference from the way that other male lead roles are used. Jason as a character also fits well into the thriller genre, as he is shadowy and mysterious. This again supports the stereotype of men having power, because they do not have to expose themselves and their secrets, whereas women are quite often expected to be honest and open. One way that Jason Carter does challenge the stereotype of being the masculine hero is by being exposed as weak and vulnerable in the dream sequence, as the female can take him down.